All right, everybody. It's the Working Fans Podcast with the man they call Dave. And today I have a young female comic, Miss Ariel Julie, who's going to tell us about her journey and what it's like to be in comedy. Ariel, thanks for being on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I guess right away, just at the beginning, breaking in. How'd you break into comedy?
So fun story. I met a comedian on Tinder a couple of years ago, and comics were totally my type. So I swiped right and everything. But we figured out we were like friends, like platonic friends super quickly. And he was like, "You should come to this open mic that I do with a bunch of my friends. It's really fun." So I just started going, and I met all of the people, and it was a good time. So after maybe, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months, I was like, "Oh, I think I'll try it," And then I went up, and everyone was so nice, and now here we are.
Awesome. Now, are you still friends with that guy today? Do you still hang out, or
he's my best friend? Yeah.
All right, cool. So you got that too.
Yeah.
I just asked somebody if dating comics was a good idea or a bad idea. This girl I just had on, and I usually don't. She said it was bad. She said she's done it a few times, but she said it doesn't work out good usually.
It's funny. I dated comics before I became one, and at that time when I wasn't a comic, I was like, no, I do not recommend it. But I'm actually dating a comic now. And it's going like real well.
So let's hope for that. But all right. I mean, you gotta think you have similar interests, so that would be, right away. All right.
I mean, we have stuff to do together.
Right.
And, it's working out. I don't know. Yeah, it's worked out so far.
Now, for your perspective, have you had any challenges being a female in comedy?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I always wonder, so what would make like some of those challenges be?
Honestly, a lot of it is like, it's just like what you can kind of get away with more behind the scenes than on stage. Like, I've noticed that, there are perks for sure, or like I got booked on shows far before I think I was like funny enough to get those shows, like, and they helped get me better, so I don't regret it at all. But I definitely got opportunities just because of being a woman and how I look. But like there have definitely been times when I've been introduced as like, oh, the lovely, the beautiful, oh, she's so pretty, you're going to like the way she looks. And I'm like, not the point. I wore like a sexier top at one show, and the guy who went up after me opened his set with like, "Ariel, give it up for Ariel, she's really funny. Girl, we were just staring at your tits the whole time though." And I was like,
thanks for helping out, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
So getting taken seriously in some situations is definitely, it's interesting. Well, at least you got a good perspective on it, like you said. Like, okay, you got on some shows you probably weren't ready for, but you probably got better because of that. So I mean, that's a good thing. Yeah, right.
Comedy is such a mixed bag. Like, so are you a comedian?
No, a friend of mine is. He has, and he'll admit it. I don't know what it is. You can tell me this is a comedic thing. But like he says, he has a tendency to make the interviews about him. So whereas I'm more open-minded and like just a regular guy who likes to ask questions and find out about things. So it's like, oh, let's put me here.
I love that though, because I've done a lot of interviews with comics, and like I think there are some really good comedian interviews, but I totally respect that for somebody who's like, no, this is like a weaker point for me, and it it serves the art to
Yeah, we use him for more like he starts to book and MC comedy shows, and so we go out with him on the live shows, and that's where he fits in. There's 3 of us, and we could have talked about this before. I don't care, I'll tell you. So we're like, we do a little wrestling podcast, and we started branching into comedy, and now we're doing like a little MMA, and hence the Working Fans Podcast was a good name because it gave us the opportunity to go into different directions and stuff. So
sure. How did you guys find me?
Just Facebook, Instagram, social media. We add people. I know it's a little unconventional. It's like when you're trying to track down interviews, I just look for people that are like, who's available, and if I will add people, and if you're funny and we see something in the timeline, like you popped up because you had a ukulele, which I was going to ask you about that next. I'm like, all right, that's different. That stands out. I don't know if that's why you did it. Like for me, it's like something that stands out is usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, we'll ask that. Why the ukulele?
Let's talk about it. I have always been very musically inclined. I'm not a great singer though. Like you can watch my YouTube videos of my act. I can like carry the tune well enough to like get the point across without hurting your ears, I think. But like I'm not like a great, I'm not like a beautiful singer, which is why I think musical comedy works okay for me, is because like it's not like this gorgeous, beautiful voice, so you could like the humor I think comes out in it. But why songs? So, okay, I was writing comedic songs and like comedic song parodies far before I started doing comedy. Like I grew up on Weird Al and like Stephen Lynch and, all these great guys. And I definitely took some pages out of their books and I changed like the lyrics to Disney songs to make them like funny or dirty or whatever. And so I wrote this song called Tinder Hookup. That was like the first totally original song specifically to perform on stage comedically that I wrote. And I remember writing it. I play viola. That's like my actual, like I played it in 5th grade, like I know
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I like tipped it on its side and like plucked it just to see like how it would kind of sound with the song. And I was like, I need to buy a ukulele. So I bought it. I wrote the song before I did comedy. I started doing comedy. I then was like, I need the ukulele. So I bought one on Amazon. It's like $50. And then I taught myself to play in like an hour via YouTube. And I just did it. And once I did it, it was like, oh, this is my thing, And
that's, like you said, it's kind of great part of comedy, right? You don't want it to be too good almost anyway, right? You want it to be funny, right? So, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I have a friend. She's a comedian. She's very funny in Chicago. And her name is Jessica Diana. Did she go by her last name now? Jessica Misitano. Anyway, either way, she's very funny. And she has a beautiful singing voice. Like I've heard her do karaoke and she does this beautiful, she did an Amy Winehouse, like Back to Black, I think it was, or Valerie, one of those songs. But it was like hauntingly beautiful, like gorgeous. And I said to my boyfriend, actually, I was like, she should be doing like musical comedy because her voice is like so beautiful. And he was like, that's not a voice I want to hear something funny from. Like that's a voice I want to hear like a cover of Blackbird, like I want her voice just be beautiful. Like I don't think a funny song would be as funny from her because of how nice her voice is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, right? It almost would give you like weird emotions. Like I'm enjoying this. Am I supposed to like?
Well, I mean, maybe she'd be great at it. I don't know.
You don't know what's gonna work until you try it. Right.
Right. But I think that was like the logic. It's like her voice is too good. I'm like, oh good, mine is not.
You've also done like modeling and stuff like that. Is there I'm trying to think. Is there a different high for that? That's in comedy or like
well, I've been a model for much longer. I started nude modeling in college for like art classes and stuff. And I did it. I like picked it back up professionally when I was like 24 or 3, something like that. So I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years. So that was like just part of who I was when I started doing comedy. That wasn't, I don't know, that's its own kind of thing. Yeah.
Is there like I'm trying to remember where. Is there like so? There's no like in comedy. I'm sure there's a high from performing, a performance high.
Like an adrenaline, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say that nude modeling like was. You can enjoy attention without like getting an adrenaline rush from it.
Sure.
And it's not like sexual attention. People often attribute that, like, oh, you're naked, it must be like sexy. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's really freeing, you know, and it takes away that sense of like, oh, I'm naked, so I'm vulnerable, you know, and you kind of realize like, no, like just because you're naked, you can still be strong and you can still be, you know, who you are. You can still be, you know, independent, whatever. Yeah. So it's fun. It's really fun. It's actually kind of a nice little workout because it's a very physical job. You have to stay still for a long time.
Well, it's just interesting what you said there. So, like, in a way, because you're naked, you know, you're out there, right? Does that make it easier? Did that help you at all being on stage later, you think?
I don't know. I did like theater and improv in college. I was a theater major, so being on stage was like never a thing. That was actually what kind of got me to like even do the open mic in the first place. Was I was like, Ariel, it's talking for 5 minutes. You were on the speech team. Like you can't talk for 5 minutes.
Right.
And it's like, and I think that was the thing too, is for years I thought about doing comedy, but I was so focused on like being funny for 5 minutes. Oh man, you got to be funny for 5 minutes. It's so hard. But then after going to the open mics for like months, I was like, oh, you don't have to be funny for 5 minutes. Hardly anybody is funny for 5 minutes. Hardly anyone is like funny at the end. No, I'm totally really funny people. Yeah, so I was like, oh, it's just talking.
Now you mentioned, you know, writing for like Stephen Lynch and stuff before. Like influences. I'm just wondering, like, are there any? Would those be your biggest influence, or who've been some of your influences in comedy?
Growing up, big influences were Patton Oswalt. Big influence. Honestly, okay, this one's like kind of weird. The Blue Collar Comedy Tour came out in about 2000, 2001-ish, and I was like 10 and 11. And so I'm definitely not like a similar comic, and I'm not, like, I'm from the North Shore of Chicago. You know that. Like, that's not where I'm from, but like, especially Ron White, I remember being like, he's the funniest one. Like, I knew the tour was about Jeff Foxworthy, but I was like, Ron White is the funniest one on this tour. So, like, I put him there. This is a weird one. Kyle Cease.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking love him. Oh, my God. He came to my college and did stand up, and he like was supposed to do like an hour, I think, and he did like an hour and a half or an hour 45. He did tons of crowd work. He was hilarious. I also grew up on Kathy Griffin. Love her. Always loved her. Will defend her forever. I know a lot of people, dudes, don't think she's funny, and that's fine because she's like a storyteller and she's not a traditional like comic. Like she doesn't do, you know, the Jerry Seinfeld one-liners and crap like that. But God, I think she's so funny. She's such a good like presence on stage. She's so cool. Maria Bamford, big one. Carlin, obviously, watched Carlin for the first time when I was like 10 or 11 too. That was because of my dad. He doesn't know like what's appropriate, not for children. So, and then of course Louis C.K.
Yeah.
I don't even remember when it was I discovered him, but I remember discovering him and being like, "Oh, that's the bar." I feel like I should mention. Oh, you know what? This is another weird one. Oh no, are you frozen? No. Well, I'm alone, so maybe now is the time for me to take this solo. Hijack this podcast. Make it about me.
Hey, we're back.
How did you about to hijack your podcast?
I was wondering. I was like, oh, I wonder how this is going. So that's only happened one other time, but that's good. That works. Usually happens once if that happens, so that's good. One of the other things I wanted to ask you was now, obviously you seem like you keep busy, you work, you said you did some writing and stuff. Are there some other goals you have, like just in entertainment in general, that you want to do?
No, I don't really. This is the hobby. Like, I have a day job and everything. And I do love doing comedy. And dude, if I could make this a career, I would. But the odds are just so, like, there are so many talented people out there. You know, there are so many good people that I'm like, this is fun. And I'm going to get as good as at this as I possibly can. And like, whatever comes of it.
Do you have any other projects or anything like that, though? Like whether it's modeling or writing or anything like that? Or is it just strictly the comedy shows right now in your job?
Right now, my big goal is just to spend the summer writing, because I get summers off at my job because I work within the education system, and I will have a little bit of time for the next couple months to just kind of like go to mics, stay out late, hang out with people afterwards, which I never get to do because I have to wake up early usually.
Yeah.
And I just want to like write differently. I'm trying to write clean. That's a one. That's so hard for me. It's a big goal. I try to write clean, and then I end up writing like Holocaust jokes. It's awful. It's so bad.
So you're way off. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look, I don't say the F word at all. It's like, yeah, it's about dead Jews. Like, yeah, but I didn't swear, you know?
Yeah. It's a start. It's a start. You I'm sorry, that was actually pretty funny. So now, do you have any big shows coming up? Are you doing a lot of open mics, or what's?
So I do have some shows coming up if you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I always am doing mics. I'm always kind of out there. I don't even know where I'll be. But on the 10th, I will be at the Laugh Factory in Chicago. The 11 p.m. The Nasty Show. We'll be in my comfort zone. So come join me. You can learn all about the STDs I may or may not have had in my life. Not currently, but once upon a time, your girl had a body count. You know what I'm saying?
Check it out.
Yeah, right. And then August 21st, I'll be at Zany's Chicago. So I have a couple other things in between. Oh, July 16th, I'm headlining. I'm doing 2.5 hours at the Market Lounge in Valparaiso, Indiana. This will be my second time headlining there. I've got like a new half hour of material. It's going to be it's going to be fun. Indiana people are fun.
Oh. Nice. Indiana. Shout out to Indiana.
Oh, yeah. Well, Indiana crowds don't get offended as easily as some other crowds I've been around.
Yeah, that's one thing I meant to ask you. I was going to start back that. Have you had, I guess I'll ask you both. Have you had a show where you're like, that was fire, I loved it, everything clicked? And if you had a show where you're like, okay, that was horrible, I never want to be back to that crowd again? Ironically,
I'll do the ones, the most recent ones, because I've had great sets and I've had some stinkers in the last year or so. But most recently, ironically enough, the two shows that I did, the one that I did like the best on, Black Room, South Side of Chicago. It was really great. They loved my like material about, shitty dudes I've dated and my shitty boyfriend, and like it's jokes about my pussy, shit like that. Jokes about Tinder guys. Like they were super into it. And so I was able to kind of get away with a couple of riskier jokes that delve a little bit into race and racial kind of stuff. White people, black dude, like me being a white girl, like dating a black dude, kind of stuff. And they kind of let me, like, they went on that ride with me. And because I never mean to like legitimately offend anybody, but I do like a darker, maybe like edgier kind of thing where it's like, oh, you're not supposed to say it, like, we know, but like, and I like that, that's fun. But then, so I did that room and I like crushed. So literally a week later, one of the girls who was on that show with me too, she was on another show with me that was like, and that show was at a comedy club where I did well. It was at Riddle's Comedy Club in like Alsip, Illinois. It was like the South kind of side. So it's like a comedy club, you know, the audience knows they're there for a comedy show. So like a week later, I do a show. It's another black room. And it's with another girl who was on the show I did last week. She saw me kill, same set, whatever. And so this is like not a comedy club. This is like an event space. And it's decked out. It's beautiful. You know, this lady like really went all out. I am not only the only white person in the building. I am the only white person for like 4 miles, probably. You know, and everybody's nice. Like everybody is lovely. There's no like it's not like an unsafe or uncomfortable thing. Like everybody was fine. It didn't like my race didn't matter until about halfway through my set when I started doing some riskier jokes. And like, I'm like, these jokes killed last week in a black room, but this room was different and they did not kill and they bombed. And the room was starting to get a little like, you've got like a little bit of room, white girl, like you better figure this shit out. And I did turn it around. I changed course real quick. And I turned it around, and I got him back. Ooh, there was and so I get off stage, and the girl who was on the show with me the week before was like, "Girl, ooh, ooh, that was scary. That got scary. I was like, we're gonna have to like carry this girl out of here. Like, I was just like, I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Oh man, that was good. That was great storytelling, by the way. I felt like I was there. I was actually nervous for you. I'm like, where the fuck is this going?
You don't even know what the joke is. And like now too, I will say like a pretty prevalent comedian from the 80s and 90s who was African American and was convicted of rape, may or may not have just been freed. And I have a couple of bits about him.
Somebody. Okay, yeah, pudding pops, maybe. I got you. Well, all right. Is there anything else you want to add coming up, or otherwise just hit your social media and whatever you want?
Is that the whole interview?
Yeah, it's like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we do quick interviews. That's why we get people on, because we're like we don't tie you up the whole day.
Oh. I don't know. Honestly, I was given no information about it. Like someone just reached out, Dan, I think, reached out and was like, "Hey, you want to do this? It's this. What do you think? When are you free?" And I was like, "I don't even know what this is. I should probably do my research, right?"
Usually we'll send you links if you want to. That's okay.
Yeah, I did not get sent any links. And if I had, probably wouldn't have clicked on them. Like, I don't know you at all.
Good point.
Like
Good
total point. Stranger. And I'm just like, yeah, let's take this risk.
Well,
like,
hey,
that's
I hope it worked out.
No, it was fun, but that's exactly how you know I have a body count. You know, it's like this girl rolls dice. Like she's not thinking anything through today.
I won't say anything, but this definitely is starting to be a trend of like the female comics we're getting on. We can tell it's like the girls are like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna make some bad choices. I'll do this show.
You know, one could make the argument that being a female comedian or a comedian, just a comedian,
maybe
you
could be point. You could be right. I will say this though. I was talking to this girl I'm talking to, because she was asking me if like she thinks I would do better because we have harder time getting female just talent in general. That approach women like on social media, whether it's wrestlers. So it's like I expect that. I expect we are. And she had a woman on the show helping you approaching the interviews, and I said, well, yes. I said that would probably help. But we'll see how this relationship goes. Maybe she can volunteer for the job.
I'm the girl that a lot of guys call when they're like, hey, we need like a woman, but like one who's, Like, we can say awful shit too, and she's not gonna cancel us. I'm like, oh, I'm way too lazy to cancel you. Like, I don't have time to think about or hashtag about it. Like, I'm not gonna. Like, I'm so busy. I don't have time to cancel anybody. Honestly, I just don't have time to cancel you. Like, so you get away with some pretty heinous shit with me, and I'll just probably let it slide because I'm like, oh yeah, that was shitty, but like I had a thing that night, you know, like I didn't have time to tell anybody. But anyway, promoting myself. You can find me on Instagram, Ariel Julie Comedy. You can go to my Linktree. Like I think it's linktree.com/Ariel Julie Comedy or allmylinks.com/Ariel Julie Comedy. That there's clips on YouTube. There's don't friend me on Facebook. Don't do that. Like, yeah, I don't know you. Don't do that. Just look me up on Instagram. You can chat me on there too.
Do you have a Twitter?
Do I have a Twitter? Yeah, I do, but I'm never on there. But it's Ariel Julie or the Ariel Julie, I think. It's on the Linktree. If you want to read the 9 tweets that I have up there, like they're there, I guess.
Instagram. Let's just do it.
It's Instagram. And I don't get it. So many dudes friend me on Facebook. I'm like, you can send dick pics through Instagram just as easily.
You can.
Like, why? I need to do it via Messenger. Like, why? It's the same. It doesn't show up clearer.
Is it mostly old guys?
No, it's young dudes. By the way, young dudes, stop filtering your dick pics. I can tell. You think I can't tell? I have an iPhone. I have the same 6 filters that you have. I know a dramatic cool when I see it. Okay? Just be honest. Just be honest about it.
Show your real dick.
Show your real dick. Show it. And speaking of which, I do have an OnlyFans, so you can go there too. The link is also in my link tree, but it's onlyfans.com/comedian with a cum. It's $11, but it's pretty good, I think.
Well, check it out. I mean, you got a fan base. Clearly, they're sending you in those filtered dick pics. So I mean,
I don't think that's being a comedian. I think that's being a woman.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Sure.
But I mean, maybe they have some cash. Maybe they'll at least drum some money up. You know.
Oh yeah, OnlyFans has paid my rent for the last 9 months. Like OnlyFans is great.
I love the hustle. Honestly, like I don't full disclosure. Like I don't spend money to that, but that's just because like I'm cheap, I guess. But I'm not.
I don't either. But, when I started it, I was like, nobody's gonna pay for this, and so many people were like, no, we will.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, they will. There's a market for it. I'm glad women have finally figured that out because it's like it's gonna change the game eventually. Like I think there's gonna be some guys that you're gonna end up separating like the good guys from the bad just by that. You're gonna know all the guys who go to your OnlyFans. Oh, these are the guys who can't actually do anything, so they pay. I'm gonna make my living off of them, and then I'll go see if I can find the guy who's actually who's too busy to do this. All right.
Right.
All right.
Right. My boyfriend is not. He's just. He would never pay for it. But luckily, he doesn't have to. He's very nice. Very supportive.
That's great. Well, on that note, it was fun having you, and maybe we'll have you again some other time, and you can tell us about whatever else you're up to by that point, and we'll see how it's going. If there's any new scary shows.
Nothing untoward will happen ever again. My life will be very boring from now on.
We'll see. Ariel, thank you for doing the show.
Thank you for having me.
How long you been you want to stand up for, bud?
Oh man, about 3 weeks.
All right. That's the introduction then, all right?
3 weeks.
You're good whenever you need to start.
Yeah.
Okay. So just finish up whatever you. All right. Yeah, you design. Yeah. I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
You want to eat? All right. Okay.
Let
I know you've been hungry for 5 hours. I got you.
Let the games begin, guys. Right. Let the games begin.
Be like a kid. Stay away from that.
Knock it off.
Don't touch
They don't let me touch anything technical.
Right. Okay. Me neither. I'm not ready with that.
All right, I got you. All right, everybody. It's the Working Fans Podcast. Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to give them no free publicity. They're not paying us. Yeah, they ain't paying us.
All right, everybody. It's the Working Fans Podcast with a man they call Dave. I got Daryl Rosemund. He's been doing stand-up comedy for about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks. Plus 20 years.
20 years. There you go. So, what got you into comedy?
Couldn't do nothing else.
Okay.
Shit. Couldn't fight good. Wasn't athletic.
Yeah. So you were good at laughing at yourself then?
Oh, hell yeah. Telling jokes, man.
Yeah, I was just talking to Moose about this too, and it was like the same thing, right? It was just, let's just laugh at ourselves.
A lot of girlfriends being funny, though.
Yes. 1,000. Right, dude, look at me. I have way more girlfriends than I should.
You and me both.
Right.
I don't got no muscles. I'm got nothing, but like, you don't have to really fight to get women. Women don't like violence.
No.
But you can laugh them draws off them women.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah. Just be willing to throw a wide net.
Talk about myself to get some ass.
1,000%.
I'll talk about my mama to get some ass.
Yes.
Okay, I don't care. My mom, your mom.
Yeah.
As long as I get some
What's the ass? I like that.
I like the ass.
That's me too. Me too.
Yeah,
ass is good.
That ass. I love, I could screw a woman's. If I'm trying to sleep with one girl and I can sleep with her mama too, that's 2 for 1.
That's a 2 for 1 deal. I like where that's at.
Do that.
So you're a man who likes a bargain. I like a good bargain, a good deal.
I mean, I'm broke. I mean, money's tight right now.
Yes.
So if you can get 2 for 1, we're succeeding. We're succeeding.
I'm 1,000% into this.
We're succeeding. I love this interview.
I'm guessing you bombed before. How do you deal with that?
Oh shit, man. Yeah, I bombed. I think my worst bomb was in Springfield. I'm from Springfield, Mass. And I did a it was a benefit for homeless women.
Oh shit.
Battered women.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at the Sheridan Hotel downtown Springfield. A lot of people, a lot of politicians, a lot of dignitaries, a lot of important people. Police commissioner. There was a lot of people there that was somebody.
Oh shit.
So my opening joke, real talk, man, I was rolling. My opening joke was I did a joke about dating homeless women. Okay. And listen, I swear to God, this is no lie. I thought the joke was funny. It was funny in any other club.
Right.
But that day it wasn't funny. All you heard was the forks hitting the plates. I said, so yeah. So I dated a homeless woman. And, I love dating homeless women. You can have sex with them and drop them off where you want. It don't matter. And all you heard was like the forks hitting the plate. And then the host came out and said, okay. And I was sweating.
Oh, shit.
No, I'm dark skinned.
Right.
I'm a dark skinned black man, but I was red as a motherfucker.
Okay.
I'm like, damn, I bombed. I was scared to ask for my money.
Yeah.
I got it, though. But I was scared. But I mean, that was like probably the worst. Yeah, that was embarrassing. Yeah. Yeah,
I know. So like, people don't, I think, get that too. Like, part of being a comedian, like that's the
you got to bomb.
You got to bomb,
yes.
And you got to just be willing to try shit, right?
Well, bombing is part of it,
mm-hmm.
Right? Whatever you do in life, you're gonna bomb.
Yes.
How many players in the NFL wasn't shit before they got the right chance?
Dude, no matter what you do, I tell everybody all the time, I learn more from fucking it. Right. If I'm good, then that's fine, whatever. But if I mess up, I'm like,
Aaron Rodgers wasn't always that good.
Right.
All right. At one time, he wasn't shit. Now he's the shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like me, I bombed, and you learn from your bombing, and it makes you prepare better.
I think it was Conor McGregor. One of the fighters said something about, I'm not better. I'm just obsessed with this.
I'm obsessed.
Right.
I don't mind bombing. I mean, I don't want to bomb tonight.
Sure.
Ain't but 4 people here, so I could have did this show in my car. Fuck. And I drive a hatchback. You know what I'm saying? But bombing,
we are alive.
Yeah, we live. But bombing is, it ain't sold out. So come on down.
Come on down.
Parking lot will fool you. This a bitch. I shouldn't even have brushed my teeth for this shit.
Competing against a baby shower.
Yeah, it is. We should go up there and get that baby.
Yes.
Exactly.
Kidnap that baby and bring the baby. Y'all come down here and laugh.
Mm-hmm.
at the pregnant woman.
And a lot of ladies up there probably too. So you never
all
know.
the bitches is up there, man.
We could try shit. See
That's
how it
where the
works
whores
out.
are at. That's where the whores. Ain't no virgins up there. That's where the whores are at.
No.
Oh yeah. Well, hello, there's
Yeah.
one pregnant.
One of them is
I
established.
mean, the rest of the crew been screwing. Whore.
That's definitely not the chance they thought they were getting. Oh, here to celebrate all three.
Sons of bitches.
The babies in there doing a Me Too movement.
Yeah. And the father's looking confused. Is it really mine? I'm not sure. Is it really mine? But bombing is part of the game, man.
Yeah.
Bombing. I bombed 3 times in my life. And I said, I'll never fucking bomb again.
Right.
Fuck that. You know, if I gotta just get up there, I won't show up before I bomb, but I'm just not bombing no more.
Yeah.
I've been doing it too long to just go out there and just bomb. And I brought my girlfriend with me tonight. What kind of shit is that?
Right.
You know, that's a long, quiet ass ride home.
How many times has she seen you perform? A bunch or?
Well, I just started dating her like maybe 3 weeks ago. She knew.
Okay.
So I've been lying. I've been lying
That's
to
good.
her. I've been lying to her. You know, I'm fresh out of California. Let this bitch tell it. You know what I'm saying?
Wait till you see the crowd.
Right.
'Cause I was wondering, like,
right.
well, if you got the same girl for a while, do they seem the same material?
Well,
Like, fuck.
I told this one because I lied. You know, I said, hey, you know, I'm a comedian. You know, she know I do comedy. She did one show with me, and it was really crowded. It was a lot of people.
Right.
And you say, oh my God, this is what you do? I said, this is what I do.
Right.
So she called me this morning. Oh my God, what should I wear? I said, just at the American Legion. Just calm down.
Yeah, we're getting lasagna.
We don't even know what floor we on yet. So just so I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I've been, you know, bombing in front of women is a long ride home.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no pussy.
No, because it's all with them. It's all how you look, and that they're all about presentation.
Oh my God! So this is what you do. Oh
I was telling him I had this girl that was interested in me a couple weeks ago. Was a hairstylist, and I was like, "How the fuck did I get?" Then I realized there was 2 guys that were talking to me, and they were paying attention to every fucking thing. I was like, "Oh, I look good. I don't usually look fucking good." They saw me. I'm
like, no, you good, man. You handsome, brother.
Yeah, well,
you good.
We sold it that day. Anyway,
listen, do what you got to do to get what you need.
Right.
Now, if I bomb tonight, the good part about me, if I bomb tonight, we drove in my car.
Yeah, 1,000%.
So if you're that embarrassed, you don't even gotta get in my car, bitch. Just find your way home.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying? So tonight is gonna be. I won't bomb tonight.
Yeah,
I won't bomb. If I bomb, y'all can do a whole podcast on me.
There you go.
Yeah, y'all can do a whole fucking
Joe. You got the material.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got to get him on. This dude knows how to bomb like anybody else, but I'm not bombing.
I'm thinking we're doing like a new podcast, dating with Daryl.
No, yeah, I mean,
I
have a lot of experience when it comes to dating and fucking up relationships.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what I do.
I've been there. Yeah.
Man, bro, I'm not even married. I'm 56. I still ain't married. I've been married once, and that ended wrong.
Same.
Yeah. So I'll probably never get married again.
Yeah.
You know, don't let my girl that I'm with now hear this.
He's serious.
Yeah. I'm serious. All right, man. Fuck that marriage. The same motherfucker every day.
Every day.
Yeah. How long you been married?
Oh God, I've been married for 4, but I've been with her for 13.
Oh my God.
9 years I was a genius.
Yeah,
scared.
Oh yeah, you are. Then you fucked up. Then you
scared. You got scared. Yeah. She told him you ain't going nowhere, and he's been stuck.
Her dad
Her dad died, and I felt that.
How long's he been dead now?
Yeah, you gotta ride that shit out.
Limitations.
Yeah, you can forgive.
That's funny. You said how long has he been dead?
3 years.
Oh shit.
Okay, one more.
My
One
ex,
more and we go.
my ex's husband. I mean, her dad died. After we got married, like a year after we got married, he died, and I said I don't want to be married this long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I gotta keep a job consistently. Like, damn, every day.
Right.
A mortgage. Shit. We ain't never gonna own this fucking house anyway. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You can pay it off. You ain't never gonna own it.
True.
You don't pay the taxes on it, they're gonna take it.
Fucking true.
You don't pay the insurance, they're gonna take it.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
How the fuck are you gonna pay off a house and they still get to cut your water off?
Dude.
I paid for this bitch. Everything should be included now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 1,000%.
They don't cut people's Section 8 shit off.
No.
If I paid a mortgage for 30 fucking years, nothing should be cut off.
Right.
I've accomplished what I've accomplished.
Right.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I've taxed.
At some point, you should be grandfathered in at least.
Brother,
Right, yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
If you pay off a car, you still got to keep paying on the bitch.
Yeah. Let's
Right?
make an agreement.
The person that happens to I dropped my insurance.
Then you get fucked. Then somebody hit it.
Yeah.
Then somebody hit it. Now you got to buy another one.
Yeah.
Right.
1,000%.
So I'm thinking like, this country's ass backwards. If you pay up a house, you work 30 years to pay that bitch off.
Yeah.
Right. Everything should be included from now on.
Goddamn right. I like that.
That's the incentive. You don't need Trump or Biden to figure that shit out.
No.
Right?
No. Fuck that.
Daryl Rosemund for president.
Yes. Yes. 2024. Yes. I'm running. Yes, I am.
I have no problem with being your VP.
Let me tell you something. I want you there. I want you Secretary of State.
You got it.
You want?
Slogan man.
Well, you're drinking a beer, so you in the cabinet somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where the fuck you're gonna be. But
He's
you're
gonna
somewhere.
he's gonna cover up any dirty shit we do.
I don't know, but
I'm gonna come up with
Nah, the press-
phrase, dropping dick on man.
no. Oh, I like that. I like that. Press secretary right there. Press secretary.
Nancy Riley.
Press secretary right there. Go out there and tell them lies for me.
Mhm.
All right, tell them lies for me. We ain't about.
You know how to bring them up to the stage. Now.
Absolutely.
We ain't about.
There's girls out there, you
Hey,
can't-
hey, we ain't about war. We're about making money and living good,
There
man.
you go.
So I want everybody who work hard to be rewarded.
Absolutely.
So that's why I don't want to buy a fucking house again. For what? I just paid off my car like maybe back in February.
Mhm.
Now they keep sending me new brochures like, yo,
Oh yeah, they're fucking.
man, get the fuck out of here. It took
Yeah.
me like 9 years to pay this bitch off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? No, hell no. This
Mm.
car is a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, so I invested in them keeping them up.
Because your
Yeah.
phone listens to you. and says, "We paid that shit off. We need to send them stuff."
I think I paid my. I'm 44. I paid my first car off like 6 years ago now.
Feels good, don't it?
I ain't bought another motherfucking car since.
Now, don't get me wrong.
I'm gonna run that shit into the ground. That's
You
all
get
I'm saying.
caught up because all your friends get new cars.
I know. I've been
So
looking at them. I
Yeah,
get, I get,
Oh
but
my
I'm like,
God, you got a new Subaru, you got a new Nissan. I ain't buying shit new.
no, I know.
Nothing.
Same. Yeah.
Now I'll change bitches,
Yes.
but I won't change cars.
I look at them with the cars. I get that feeling, but then it's like,
I
shut
change
it
the
down,
bitches.
dude.
I change the bitches.
Yeah.
I change the bitches. I change bitches. I change women and draws. That's what I do. No, whatever y'all do, don't let my girl hear this.
No. This is it.
This is private.
We'll edit the fuck out of this.
Are we on camera? We right there?
Yeah.
Good, we good. Look, listen,
I'm gonna send you the rough draft. So if there's anything in there, you're like,
I'll just make sure that my girl don't see this at all.
There you go.
I'm trying to keep this.
Not too many people hear us anyway.
Yeah. Well, it ain't too many.
Unless she one of the 40.
Well, listen, hey,
Good.
it ain't too many people here anyway.
Mhm,
You know,
right.
The parking lot of fool you like a motherfucker. I could have just,
Oh my God, it did
I
too.
don't know,
Yeah.
you said there was like 100 tickets sold. I'm like,
yeah. You mean it
everybody buy doubles?
in the building?
Yeah.
In the building, you got 40 at the baby shower.
Yeah.
Then you got what, 29 here? Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 people.
Maybe.
I bet they got plenty of lasagna left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I gave him mine. I
They
didn't
might
care.
as well just fucking give out the rest. They ain't sold out. The shelter could use some food. So
Daryl,
talk to me, brother.
I'm gonna get one more question in because
Yeah,
that's
talk to
fine.
me. I'm
We'll
just
get one
talking
more
shit.
question. That's all right.
Talk to me.
Is there anything else you want to do in comedy? You got any goals or anything you want to hit? Or
Nah, man.
No.
I didn't achieve none of my goals at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right now,
this
honestly,
is fun, right?
It's fun. I make a little bit of money. I've done some big shows.
Yeah.
I've done some big stages. You know, I've opened for.
Is there any like those moments where it's just like, holy shit, I'm doing this? Has there any been in those moments where like,
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tell you what holds up a lot of comedians from making it big.
Mhm.
What's your name again?
Dave?
Dave. I'm gonna tell you something, Dave. If you get a chance, say like my favorite comedian, Richard Pryor,
Yeah,
George Carlin.
Sure.
George Carlin was the funniest white man ever,
I
in
believe
my
that.
opinion.
I believe that.
George Carlin was a white Richard Pryor. He's a comical genius.
I think he's excellent. Yeah.
Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Dave Chappelle is a GOAT in my opinion. But anyway,
Dude, they used to laugh at me when I was a kid. I don't know why, because
Why?
I'm 44.
yeah.
My dad brought me up. He was a military guy.
Mhm.
All my favorite comedians were Pryor, Fox,
Oh, Pops was-
fucking-
oh yeah.
and Murphy. Like, you know what I
Murphy.
mean? That was the
Well,
like,
Murphy was a rock star.
yes.
You know, he was like
yeah.
the first rock star.
Yeah, I saw
But-
Raw like when I was a kid and shouldn't have been watching.
Delirious
it, but
was
it
like
awesome.
Delirious, probably one of the funniest ones I've ever seen
Excellent.
in my life.
Yeah,
But when it comes to comical minds and geniuses,
yeah,
I would say Richard Pryor, George Carlin,
yes,
and Dave Chappelle. Eddie Murphy, yeah, Eddie Murphy had that star quality, so he was funny.
right.
He was real funny.
I know what you mean.
But
But
he
holding
wasn't
up,
as, but he wasn't as, to me, he wasn't as brilliant
Mhm.
as Pryor, Carlin, and Dave Chappelle.
Make you think, those guys.
Period. Those
Yeah.
dudes make you think.
Yeah,
So my thing is that it's hard to open up for a major headliner and use your best material.
mm-hmm.
Somebody gonna steal it.
Okay.
And I've been through that so many times. You know how many times
Mhm.
I've been home and heard my jokes on TV? And I'm like, yo, that was really my joke, but no one believes me.
Right.
So if I get a chance to open tonight at Foxwoods for a Dave Chappelle, and I go out there and one of his writers hears something that I did really good, the first one on TV with it owns it.
Gotcha.
So a lot of comedians that get to open for big stars, they hold back.
Sure.
They want to keep their material to themselves. They hold back because people steal it.
Right.
So it keeps you where you're
That's
at.
the cutthroat, I guess, then, of this.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. If you're opening for me, right?
Yeah.
And you out there, you killing them. You're killing them, Dave.
Yeah.
And one of my writers said, yo, Dave just went out there and destroyed it. Well, what did he say? It's been recorded.
Right.
You didn't know it.
Right.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Dave said that. I got an HBO special next week. It'll be on TV. He can't prove it.
Right.
I stole your joke. First one on TV with it owns it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to believe you.
That's the fucking rule.
Nobody's going to believe you.
If you can see it, then that's what's real.
My name in lights. Your name ain't in lights.
Right.
You did not, Daryl did not steal your joke. Really? Really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how it is. So that's what keeps a lot of us from progressing, because we're afraid to lose what we work so hard to keep.
Okay.
Know what
Makes
I mean?
sense. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'll just wrap it up then.
let's wrap it up.
Anything you want to promote? What's coming up?
Nah, just promote this show. This show here.
Okay.
You know, pandemic's winding down. This is my second show in a year. I did one in Manchester
Did
last
you
week.
do one of those
What's that?
the what do they call those? The virtual comedies at all?
Nothing.
No, okay.
If I can't build the crowd, I didn't want
Right.
it.
I wondered about that.
I didn't want it. This is actually my second show post pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, because now it's winding down. We're not even wearing masks right now.
No.
You know, so now this is my second show. I did one in Manchester last week. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Good crowd, intimate room, but you know, brilliant comedians.
Mhm.
So this is my second show post pandemic, because I already had COVID.
Right.
I beat it. You know, I ain't got no mask on. Yeah.
No.
I don't wear condoms. I ain't wearing no mask.
Damn right. That's how we end it.
I'm
right
gonna
there.
risk it, Dave.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna go ahead and risk it.
No condoms, no masks. We out.
Yeah, no condoms, no mask. We raw, baby. We
That's
raw.
how we end it. We
We
go
outta
raw.
here. We go raw.
All right, everybody, it's the Working Fan Podcast with the man they call Dave. And today we're going to have a special subject. We're talking about two of the all-time greats, Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. And to do that, I brought one of my all-time favorite guests, one of my favorite wrestlers from the NWA territory days, Mr. George South. Mr. Number One, how are you, sir?
Man, Dave, I'm doing great, buddy. Thank you so much. Man, if the fans knew what me and you had to rig up to get this to happen.
Hey, I'm happy you're here, George. Let's start it off. Dusty Rhodes. What can you tell me about some stories with Dusty? I know you're a big Dusty fan.
Oh, big Dusty fan. And, you know, it's one thing, you know, as a wrestling fan to read about these guys in a magazine and maybe to see them on TV, you know, early in their career. But when you actually work for them, when they actually, you know, help pay your bills, it's just a completely different respect, you know, for Dusty. You know, it's amazing to me now as I look back, you know, over the years, several people have had like maybe negative things to say about Dusty and the Jim Crockett territory. But Dave, you know what's funny? When we were all making all that money, boy, nobody had nothing negative to say.
Yeah.
You know what? And what I was able to do is get real close to Dusty, and he knew, you know what? Dave, he always used to call me and Gary Roll his utility guys. And for years, I didn't know what that meant. But then later, he told me, he said, whatever I need to be done, y'all do it. And man, what a great compliment, you know, coming from Dusty, that whatever he needed. And I learned so much, you know, just being around him. And it's just amazing. I don't think I've ever met a more competitive guy. I mean, you hear stories of these wrestlers that, you know, would take a bet to drink motor oil just because it was a $20 bet, you know, and I know Dusty was so competitive. You know, we did, and just recently somebody showed video of it, but we did a charity basketball game, Dave, one time where the Charlotte Police played the NWA wrestlers. And I'm talking about when Rock and Roll and Midnight, you know, were at the top of there was no, the hottest territory in the world was Jim Crockett Promotion. And we're doing this fun game. I mean, for charity, for heaven's sake. And you know what was so cool? It was such a mystique day back then that, you know, everybody hated the police because they were going up against rock and roll and you know, these great-looking baby faces, Sting, Nikita. Well, when the police came onto the court, Dave, the Four Horsemen.
Oh, wow.
Listen, Eddie Flair couldn't have booked this no better. So the Four Horsemen and Flair come out, and we're in the dressing room. They give us these NWA jerseys, and me and Rocky King made the team. I'm talking about Dick Murdoch, Dutch Mantell, Bear Von Raschke, all these legends. And I'm just glad to be part of the team, man. I'm thinking, you ain't getting this jersey back.
Right.
So they're introducing us, and we're getting ready to go up to the dressing room. This place, they get $5 tickets for Jim Crockett's mother. She who's passed away, but she was big into animals and rescue animals, so it was a charity thing. It sold out the Charlotte Coliseum. Basketball. And so they're introducing us. The music's playing. The last three people in the dressing room was me, Rocky King, and the American Dream. And I got ready to go through the curtain, and Dusty, Dave, this is a true story. Dusty reached up and grabbed my elbow, and he turned me around, and he looked me right in the face. I mean, that blonde afro and those scars on his forehead.
Yeah.
And Dave, he said, "Don't you make a fool out of me." And I said, "Stupid me, Dave." I said, "Dusty, this is for fun." And Dave, the most serious look that I've ever seen on a man is he looked at me dead in the eye, nose to nose, and he said, "Kid, they ain't nothing for fun." So I was scared to death. Oh my God! So we went out. Luckily, I really think to this day, if we would have lost, Dusty would have probably fired every one of us.
That's incredible.
But we won the game, and believe it or not, we were all heroes, but it was kind of funny because you had all these police officers that were overweight. You had all of us wrestlers that are not used to running up and down a court.
Right.
So it was kind of comical, Dave. I think the final score was like 22-24.
Yeah.
We were all blown up, but Dusty was so competitive. But you know what? My favorite time with Dusty, even though I worked for him and Jim Crockett and he was my boss, is when that short time that he went to WWF, Dave, because that's when I was up there, and Dusty was just one of the boys. I mean, it was amazing. I got real close to him up there. I mean, he would dress with us in the dressing room. I think he got the last laugh with all the polka dots, Dave, because he actually got it over.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people loved him. And I tell you a funny story. He called me one time Sunday morning. I just got in from church like at 10 a.m. in the morning, and he called me. He said, "George, I need you at the Charlotte Coliseum." And I was so excited, Dave. I'm serious. I said, "Dusty, I'll be right there." And he said, "Oh, well, you go ahead, but I ain't getting there until 8 o'clock tonight." I forget, I was so excited. But that's how, I don't know, he was my all-time favorite. I've never seen somebody draw. You know when you depend on each other, Dave, and I know I get excited on here, but there was no contracts. We depended on each other. No, these young wrestlers don't even understand what I'm talking about, but we depended on each other to feed each other's families.
Right.
And seriously, I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't jealousy and all this crap that's going on now, but man, I wanted everybody to do good, Dave, because if Dusty did good, then I'm going to do good.
Right. Professional jealousy is one thing, but at the end of the day, you guys all had each other's backs.
Man, we had to.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you hear the old saying, "Well, we spent more time together than our own families," man, that was true. That was true. But you know, my favorite Dusty story, real quick.
Yeah.
He came up with this idea, Dave, that they were going to save money. All right. So they were going to get rid of a lot of the underneath guys, but they were going to keep me and Gary Roll, and they were just going to order all of these mask outfits, Dave. And this was Dusty's ideal. So at every TV taping, where they used to be 15 guys, underneath guys, they would just be me and Gary in all these mask outfits.
Oh, God, that's great.
So the Crow Connection, the Gladiators, the Mexican Twin Devils, all of that was Dusty's ideal for Jim Crockett to save money. And I'll never forget this. Dusty gave us Jim Crockett's credit card.
Oh, wow.
And I was scared to death.
Sure.
I said, are you kidding me? And Dusty told us to call the old K&H wrestling wear, where at that time, that's the only place you could get gear. And he said, I want y'all to buy, 5 or 6 outfits. And I'm going to tell you, I wish I'd have listened to my partner, Gary Roll. He said, George, I'm going to get us 10 outfits apiece. I said, you can't. And me, Mr. Conscience, I said, no. I'm just going to let you get 4 outfits like Dusty said. And of course, we got them. Crockett paid for all of it. And then it worked for about 2 months, Dave.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but then it was just too much. I mean, they were literally, we couldn't get changed in time. In other words, I would wrestle Ronnie Carvin first match as Gladiator, and then I have to run in the back and change into a different gimmick to come out for like the 3rd match.
That's
And
awesome.
it was working until we just got so blown up, I said, screw it. I'll come out with 1 boot on and 1 boot off. And
That's
so,
awesome.
but I still have the outfits. Believe it or not, I still have the outfits.
That's awesome. Do you
And of
have,
course, the famous Malkies, the Malkies beat us.
Right.
You remember that?
Yes.
That was Dusty's big idea. So, and I loved it. We all made good money off of that little short angle on television.
Now, what can you tell me about any Ric Flair stories, George?
Oh, gosh. You know what? My favorite, I love Rick. You know what? I used to sit in the dressing room, Dave, and I'd watch Rick come in, and he would either go wash his hands or just walk by. And he'd just randomly walk over to guys and say, stand up. Lock up. He'd say, lock up with me.
Mm.
And they'd lock up for, good or bad, and he'd walk away. And after about 2 months of this, he would do it to me a couple times. I finally asked Ronnie Garvin, I said, what the heck is Rick doing? I said, why does he just walk in here and don't say nothing and just lock up with guys and walk away? And Ronnie said, oh, you don't know? I said, heck no. He said, Rick can tell, and this is so special, Dave. He said, Rick can tell more in 2 minutes with you than if he wrestled you. In other words, what I meant is, he just locked up. He knew if you knew what you were doing in that ring by just a lockup,
Right.
Dave. So there's a lot of guys that never got to do any more than that lockup. But I knew he was Ric Flair. I was a big Ric Flair mark too. So the first time I wrestled him, he was NWA champ. But see, on Saturday mornings, Dave, if you can remember in Atlanta, we did those tapings at like 9 a.m. in the morning.
Mm.
So Rick hated to wrestle. Now, he didn't mind doing the interviews, but he always had to catch a plane that afternoon. So he hated to wrestle, okay, and then have to shower and get cleaned up and go jump on a plane when he could just do an interview. But every now and then, Dusty, just to prove to Rick that Dusty's in charge, he would make Rick wrestle. And one time Rick was just fed up, and I'm not lying, just as simple as we're talking. He said, well, give me George South. And I was in the other dressing room. I didn't even know this. And when I got ready to go through the curtain, Rick didn't talk to me. We didn't go over nothing. I was a nervous wreck. But he looked right at me before I went through the curtain, and he said, tonight or today, you're going to be Ricky Steamboat.
Wow.
And I just like peed my pants, Dave. I mean, you kidding me?
Awesome.
This is like 9 a.m. in the morning. I done drove 5 hours to Atlanta, and all of a sudden I'm in the ring with NWA champ Ric Flair, and we got out there, Dave, and to show you how classy Ricky is, if you watch that tape now, honestly, if he was a mark, you would have thought I was going to win the NWA World Belt. I mean, he gave me, and we went like 15 minutes on TV, if you can believe it, but he gave me 14 minutes of that match.
That's wild.
And it's funny because you know what's special about our business? Now, some 30-something years later, Dave, wrestling fans still come up to me and they remember that match. And it's funny because they say, man, I thought you was going to win. I tell them that I thought I was too, But see, Rick could have went out there and ate me up for 15 minutes, but he didn't. And that just, when it took off, and then he asked for me like every week on TV. And it was just simply as I knew my job. I knew he was Ric Flair, and I was going to do everything I could to put him over. And just amazing stories. One time, Dave, he gave me his ropes. One time he had 30 ropes, if you can believe this. time, and he said, George, I'm going to be on Good Morning America next week. But I need Olivia Walker, who was Wrestling 2's wife in Atlanta, who made all of Rick's robes. He said, I need you to run my robes down to Atlanta, and she's going to fine-tune them and fix them, and I'm going to take them to Good Morning America. And so I said, man, that's great. So I met him at the airport. Dave, if you can believe this, I put 30 of Rick's robes in my car. Now, looking back, I wish I'd have stole one of them, but I didn't. So I'm driving to Atlanta with 30 of his robes. Each one of them averaged like 10 grand a piece. And buddy, listen, I looked over at my dashboard and it's all bent in. You know, I'm driving like, 1979 Pinto, if you can remember them.
Oh, yeah.
Them old ugly looking Pintos. So I'm certainly adding up. Okay, I got like $100,000 worth of robes in my back seat, and I'm driving this $300 Pinto. So by the time I got to Atlanta, I said, wait, something ain't right with this. I got more robes in my car. And she fixed them. He went to Good Morning America, and, I didn't get a robe. But I wished I would have. I wish I'd have hung on to them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm gonna.
There's so many. Rick, listen, there'll never be another one.
No.
I mean, honestly, there'll never be a world champion. See, wrestlers don't even want to wrestle 365 days, Dave, a year. Yeah, it's funny, I had lunch with Kane about 6 months ago, and you know what's funny is to go have lunch with Kane, and this was when, he was still doing some appearances as Kane, but he told me, he said, let's just go somewhere where nobody will recognize me. And Dave, I started laughing, because he's like 7 foot tall, and his eyebrows are shaved, and he's bald-headed.
Right.
Yeah, we can try to hide that, but anyway, we were eating lunch, and I was joking. I said, Kane, if I was in charge of wrestling, we'd go back to the days of us wrestling 7 days a week. And he looked over at me with that, scared me dead with that look. He said, George, we don't want to wrestle 7 days a week, and that's kind of how it is. I mean, with the contracts and stuff. But man, I'm just telling you, he paid a lot of bills for me. They helped, right, when Animal just passed away, Dave, I had just told him a few days earlier, I just thanked him, because I'm serious, and it sounds corny, but all those years, all of my kids are grown now, but all those legends helped me raise my family, Dave.
Yeah.
Because they drew money, and I was on the card, and I was able to go pay my bills. And I'll never forget that.
What about the Road Warriors? Any great stories of working with the Road Warriors?
Oh, you know what? You'll love this. I knew them when they wasn't even together. I knew Animal in Atlanta when Ole Anderson just saw him and thought, holy cow, what is this? And he came out and cut off blue jeans. And if I'm not mistaken, they just called him the Road Warrior by himself. And they brought Hulk in later. But I'm going to tell you, I've never, years after all of our, let me tell you this real quick. I get carried away. The scariest thing in wrestling, Dave, is standing in the ring and you hear, what was it, Iron Maiden or whatever, Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah.
And you see Animal and Hulk running to the ring after you. And sometimes Hulk would forget to take his spikes off.
Yeah.
Because, and you know what's funny, Dave? A lot of fans don't know this, but usually their matches went quick. So what I mean by that is, Gene Anderson, the old school old-timer, he used to be the signal guy. So in other words, when he walked out behind the curtain, Tommy Young would see him and it was time to go home.
Right.
Okay? So what makes you have a heart attack is when Gene Anderson is standing out in front of the curtain before the Road Warriors get out. So you know this is going to end quick.
Right.
So Hulk would jump in that ring with you and forget to take his spikes off. And you just knew he was going to shoot you in the ropes and, hit that big spike. But years after all of our wild living and all this kind of stuff, me, Ted DiBiase, and the Road Warriors, I was there the night that Animal and Hulk they just changed their life, Dave. They gave their life to the Lord, and for the next 3 years of Hulk's life, I wish I could tell you, Dave, what I saw this man do as far as for children and the homeless people, and nobody will ever talk about that, but everybody knew Hulk, and it was this larger-than-life figure animal, too, and they just decided that they wanted to do some good. And I'm going to tell you, I was at the Pontiac Silverdome with Ted DiBiase and Sting and the Road Warriors, 60,000 teenagers in this Pontiac Silverdome doing this huge youth conference. And, man, the reaction of the Road Warrior Animal and them coming out. But you know what I love? There was a period in WCW, Dave, where the top guys could care less if they hurt us or not. They were just clumsy.
Right.
And stupid stuff. They were breaking the young guys' noses and just being stupid. I never forget Hulk. He walked in the dressing room one night, and he got in a couple of those guys' face that were hurting us. And I was over grinning, standing beside him. He said, the next one of you, he was telling all the top guys, the next one of you that hurt one of these underneath guys, I'm going to hurt you.
Huh. Wow.
And then we were friends for life after that, Dave.
Yeah.
But no, it's so sad because Animal, let me tell you a quick story about this, not to be sad, but just tell you how special Animal is.
Sure.
Every year, my oldest son, George Jr., who's like 35, Animal and Hulk would always wish him happy birthday. In other words, when he was little, he loved the Road Warrior. He had a huge tattoo on his arm years ago of their face paint. I mean, he loved the Road Warriors. Well, and I know this sounds goofy and people think I'm making this up, but my son's birthday was the day after Animal died.
Oh, wow.
So that morning, Dave, I was texting Animal just wanted me to remind him to call my son and wish him happy birthday. And Dave, buddy, just to show you how precious life is, in the middle of that text to Animal, I saved it. I still have it on my phone. One of my buddies texted me and said, have you heard about Animal passing away? And, buddy, I just stopped that text and, oh, my goodness. And it was true. You know, he passed away. So just amazing, but it meant so much to him. Every year he'd call my son. But this, man, buddy, I'm going to tell you, Ricky Morton told me a story one time, him and Robert in Baltimore. They love to shoot pool, and they're real good at pool. Well, back in the day, they would, Ricky and Robert would go in a pool hall, and they would just go in and they'd work everybody in there. You know how it is. They'd act like they couldn't shoot pool and then get everybody to play the game, and then Ricky and Robert take all your money.
Right.
Well, Ricky said one time in Baltimore, they were doing it, said him and Robert were making all kind of money, and all of a sudden, the whole bar, the whole pool hall realized what they were doing. And Ricky said it was like something in a movie that, all these, brutes had Ricky and Robert cornered, going, get their money back. And all of a sudden, Ricky said it was like a movie. He said the front door swung open, and it was the Road Warriors.
Oh, man.
And he said, everybody turned around, and Hulk said, is there a problem? Of course, there wasn't no problem,
No.
So, man, I miss them. They just, I do. They just, I'm telling you, just, here's and we'll move on.
That's all right. Go ahead.
If you go back and watch my old Road Warrior matches with them, Tommy Young was always the referee, the great NWA ref. If you go back, for some reason, and I thank him to this day, when they hit the ring on us, Tommy Young would always bend over or go over to him and tell him to take it easy on George. So you actually go back and watch some of these matches when they hit the ring, like Hulk will stop in momentum, like in mid-stride.
Yeah.
And Tommy Young's whispering to him, you can kill the other guy, but just take care of George.
That's so great. That's so great. Wow. George, I wanted to ask you, because you started talking about them, and obviously they were such tough guys too, and that made me think of Ming. What about Haku? Any stories about Haku? Did you ever work with Haku?
Oh, listen, it's like Arn Anderson says. If Haku fixes you a hamburger, whether you like what he put on it or not, you eat it.
Right.
But honestly, being around him and working with him, he was probably, now if he hears this, he'll probably kill me, but he took care of the guy he was with more than anybody I've ever seen. But now he looked, and his moves were so vicious, but he really cared about the guy he was in the ring with. And I would trust him. I would trust him with my life. I mean, honestly, he was that good. And see, that's what, and nobody understands that, Dave. The object of our business is not to kill each other. You know,
Right.
there's a lot of guys ain't learned that yet. But Haku was one of those, you know, I used to talk to, see, I got to wrestle Lou Thesz. Now, even my first year of wrestling, I was like 18 years old. And Lou Thesz was still wrestling. Well, and I knew him through the magazines, but I was this cocky, you know, 18-year-old and thought I knew everything. And so I'm booked against Lou Thesz. And I was actually mad, if you can believe it, Dave. Like, look at me. Why is this old man still doing this? And I'll never forget, they let me go over to Lou Thesz's dressing room. He was in there doing squats, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
And stupid me, you know, the 18-year-old teenager, I began to tell Lou Thesz what I was going to do to him.
That's great.
I'm going to tell you, Dave, it's a wonder I'm alive.
Right.
He got up from the squats, and he looked me right in the face, and he said, first of all, you're going to shut up. And I said, yes, sir. And so the reason I said that is I used to ask the old-timers, how tough was Lou Thesz? I mean, was he really? Now, when I worked with him, you could feel him. I mean, he was older, but, man, you knew he could tie you in a knot. But I used to ask Nelson Royal and Ole Anderson, and you know what was funny, Dave? They would all say, well, we don't know if he was tough or not. We was always afraid to find out.
Right.
Now, I know Lou Thesz was tough, but it's like nobody wanted to try to find out.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
now, with me, I mean, you knew. I mean, if you were stupid enough to even make him mad or whatever, but you didn't. If you never met me, you knew you didn't want to mess with him. But just one of the, I always joked with him because, you know, down in Florida, he was working at this huge car dealership for a while. He may still be doing it, but I used to joke with him that he probably gets Salesman of the Week every month. You know, I mean, if Mings will sell you a car, what are you going to do? Tell him no?
Right.
Dave?
I'll take two of
And I
them.
said, you probably got every sales record in that dealership.
People are buying two cars. They can't even afford it.
Oh, they're
They just
buying
wanna
2
make
or
it
3
happen.
cars. Oh, yeah. Whatever extras you want, man, just put them on there. I'll take them.
How's the school going right now with everything with COVID and everything?
Oh, buddy, it's going good. You know, God is so good, Dave. I'm going to tell you. You know what's funny about North Carolina? It is the stupidest people in charge. In other words, listen to this, Dave. We were 2.5, if you can believe it. No, what that means is we're not open yet officially. We're 2.5. Well, this 2 weeks ago, the big announcement's coming, and we're thinking that gyms and restaurants and stuff's going to open like everywhere else. But Dave, we go to 2.7. What the heck is 2.7? So,
Oh, no.
my school went from 3 days to 1. I never did close it down completely, and we've just recently opened back up to 2 days a week. And we're hoping that, you know, more things will ever get normal again. But man, last night was my training night, and I had Tessa. You know, Tessa Blanchard. Her and her husband, Miguel, they were in town seeing her mom and Magnum, and she came to my school. And Dave, buddy, we for about 3 hours. I mean, people think I say this because I trained her, but I have never in my life met somebody that works as hard as she does. And Dave, you know as well as I do, wrestling fans think just because your dad was famous that you're going to be famous.
Not the case.
And see, you're exactly right. To me, it's harder when your dad was famous.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember one time, the first interview she ever done, Dave, was with Bill Apter. Me and her sit down with Bill Apter. And his first question was, how's your dad doing? And I stopped the interview, Dave. I said, no, listen, this is about Tessa.
Yeah.
And I've just seen her work so hard. And I don't know what her next step is, but you know, it's like a lady yesterday at my school, Dave. She called, this lady, I don't even know her. She calls me. She said, my son wants to come to your school. And she starts asking me all these questions. And I said, man, all you got to do is go Google. Go to the internet and Google my name. She said, honestly, and that will tell you in 10 minutes everything you need to know about me. And she didn't understand what I meant. She was wanting to ask me all these stupid questions. Then I told her this, Dave. I said, when Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat and Tully Blanchard, when they bring their kids to you, for you to train them, you better know what the heck you're doing. Dave.
Absolutely.
And that's probably one of my greatest honors is to have those guys that, trust me. Because you know what I tell people, Dave, these young fans? I said, listen, the ring don't care what your name is. The ring, when you fall on it, it don't care if you're a Flair. It don't care if you're a Blanchard. And Anderson, it doesn't care what your name is because it hurts anyway.
Right.
So, but man, I worked so hard last night, and we're just going to see. She tells me to calm down, if you can imagine that, Dave, because I fear without the makeup, when the hair ain't done, with the sweat and the tears, and just in an old ring, and she's got to listen to me. That's the part I see. Right. And so the fans don't see that. See, and then when she won that Impact World Heavyweight title from she beat a man, and all of a sudden I had to shut down the internet in my life because I was fixing to go to somebody's house and punch them. I mean, all of a sudden, all these fans had something stupid to say about Pizza beating a man.
Right.
But Dave, any fan knows that it had already been done years ago with China anyway.
Sure.
You know it?
Yeah.
But that ain't what made me mad. I thought, listen, it was like when David Flair, Ric Flair's son, when he became U.S. champion in Atlanta. He hadn't been in the business a year, and they gave him the U.S. belt, and everybody hated him. But Dave, what was he supposed to do?
Well, you're right.
I agree. You know what I'm saying? What was Tessa? When the company tells you you're fixing to win the belt, there's no person in the world that would say no.
Right, 100%.
And if you do, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I agree. David Arquette, they gave him the world title. What was he going to say?
Yes.
No? Why would he say no?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what breaks my heart is David Flair, who I still see, he hates wrestling. He's got a right to. They didn't even give him a chance, Dave. And David now's doing real good. Man, he's got a great job, a big family, and he'll talk to me all day. But if I mention wrestling, man, he's got to get off that phone. But then I don't blame him.
Yeah.
People said he should not have got that U.S. belt. But what was he supposed to do?
I'll tell you.
Seriously.
I'll tell you, George. I just had a conversation with a guy. He's doing a book on Lance Von Erich, and it's to tell his story. And it's funny because I always knew him as the fake Von Erich, right? And I love the Von Erich. Right. But then I thought about it, not even knowing or asking. I'm like, what is the likelihood? It's not this guy's idea. He didn't say, hey, I want to be a fake Von Erich. I want to be an imposter Von Erich. He got offered a job, and he took it, which is what you do in life.
Exactly right.
You take a job.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And Dave, you are so agreeable with that because what these people don't realize now, let's just take Lance Von Erich. That probably was a decision whether he lost his house or not.
Right.
I mean, seriously, because nobody understands that. People say, well, see, in my day, it was acceptable because, George, I would wrestle here, Dave, and then I would go to Memphis maybe and put a mask on. And then they'd just come up with a name.
Right.
And so what am I going to do? Say no? A lot of times, it's like Terry Taylor. When they told him you're going to be the Red Rooster.
Right.
I laugh. I love that gimmick they gave him. Everybody hates Terry Taylor for being a Red Rooster. But Terry tells me he makes more money in 3 months as the Red Rooster than he's ever made.
Yeah, right. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Let's do it.
Yes. But you're exactly right, buddy. What are these guys going to, what's Lance Von Erich going to do? Say no?
Right.
I don't want to be a Von Erich? Give it to somebody else? Heck no. But I was laughing because when Tessa won there were actually guys that had won a belt in wrestling dogging her for winning the belt. And a couple of them, I called them out on it, Dave, because I said, oh, well, let me get this right. So y'all really won the belt, right?
Right.
I mean, so y'all really won that belt. It wasn't work when y'all won it. And it's just amazing that I always joke with people about pro wrestling that let me tell you a quick story, Dave. I'm going to share this with you before.
Go ahead.
I got to know Black Jack Mulligan before he died, and we become real close, and I'd worked with him some, but, man, we got real close towards those last few months. And, he told me a funny story. He said in the 60s, when wrestling first took off, Dave, I mean, I'm talking color television, Gorgeous George, and they were selling out everywhere because it was new. Well, the Mafia up in New York heard about all this money down here. So the Mafia came down and got involved in wrestling. Now, Dave, listen. After 5 days, they threw their hands up and went back to New York. No, seriously, they said them guys are nuts.
Right.
So if the mafia don't want nothing to do with us, but I laugh sometimes now because, all you can do with wrestling, my first week in the business, an old timer told me, Dave, said, all you can do is make wrestling better than when you found it.
Right.
And that's the secret. Dave, everybody asks me, what's important, what ain't important. And I get tickled because young wrestlers now, you see posts on Facebook about they get mad at a promoter because the promoter didn't return their call, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Nobody owes you nothing in pro wrestling. They don't. And if you're sitting around waiting for a promoter to call you back, that probably ain't going to happen.
Nope.
and I think that's what's made me, I think that's why I survived this COVID, is because once you've been in wrestling, maybe you survive anything.
Right.
I survived the Ultimate Warrior. What the heck's COVID going to give me?
You talk about giving back. I'm going to ask you about one other guy, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about, anything you want to promote. Giving back. A guy that I think of a lot with that was Terry Funk. I felt like Terry just constantly gave up his body years and years. What about Terry? We never talked about Terry. Did you get to work a lot with Terry? Any stuff with Terry?
Oh, listen, he's in the league. I mean, I always say there was Terry Funk, and then there was us.
Right.
There's a picture, Dave, I just put on my Facebook. Tessa Blanchard came to my school last night, and she's wearing a pair of Kenny Lamas, which I always call them Terry Funk boots. Those cowboy tennis shoes he always wore. Now, I've got several pair of them. To me, if I was training you, Dave, the greatest respect I can give you is when I give you a pair of them boots. To me, it's everything that Terry Funk stood for. He fought for the underneath guys. He fought for the top guys. He gave his body to all of this. So Tessa's got a pair of them on in that picture with me. So some guy on Facebook said, "Oh, I love your boots," which I thought was comical, Dave. You got Tessa Blanchard and the guy's looking at her boots, okay? Right. But anyway, so I was able to share with this guy that, I wasn't bragging, but I said, I gave them to her years ago because to me, I believe in you if I'm going to do that. That's how much Terry Funk means to me. And I'm going to tell you, I got a picture, Dave. I wish I could send it to you. Last year he came through here with Big Time Wrestling and did some appearances. He actually got in the ring a few times. But there's a picture, Dave, that I just recently got, and I'll talk about it here in a little bit. I got my own bottled water, if you can believe it.
Wow.
And so I'm big time, buddy. So there's a picture. I wanted to give Terry Funk one of my bottles of water because first he'd think I was nuts. But he loves it to see anybody come up with an idea to try to make $1.
Sure. Yeah.
And so there's a picture. The guy just happened to snap it. I'm in the dressing room. Terry Funk's lacing his boots up. And here it is. It looks like I'm trying to sell him a bottle of water. And he's got this look like, you're probably the goofiest guy I've ever met in my life. But he took the bottle of water, so I'm very happy about that. But he's in a league by himself. And he was one. No matter who he worked with, he gave them probably 75% of the match, Dave.
One of the best promos of all time, too. Some of his promos.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know if some of them would air, but I saw one the other day where it was with that feud with Ric Flair in '89, and he's talking about this jackass his dad had, and they had to put it down, and Terry Funk's on his knees crying, and he's saying, we got to put Ric Flair down. I'm like, this is just tremendous. I don't know if it would air today, but it's tremendous. I love it.
No, I know. Well, in WCW, when they had him go in that barn, and he walked behind that horse, and the horse kicked him. And he cussed the horse out and walked off the set. He said, I should have known better. But my last Terry Funk story, you'll love this, Dave. He did the Roadhouse movie with Patrick Swayze. I love that movie. Well, one time in WCW, me and Terry Funk, when he was working, this was after the movie, of course, we're sitting in a dressing room. And he's on his phone we're just randomly talking. I mean, it was like 3 hours before the show. Well, I look down and his phone goes off, and it's Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze's calling him, so I'm marking out.
Wow.
And Terry Funk ain't even answering. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I'm not ready to grab his phone.
Yeah, right.
And so he goes to voicemail. And so when it was done, I said, Terry, it ain't none of my business, but was that the Patrick Swayze? And Terry said, oh, yeah, he's always calling me. And I said, well, why didn't you answer it? He said, well, I'm tired. He said he'd want to go get a beer later, and I don't want to. And I said, and he just got up and walked off. I'm sitting there, Dave, with my mouth open,
Wow.
thinking, let's go, I'll buy you supper, you know? But it was just so cool that it just randomly rang, and I looked down, and Patrick Swayze come right over his phone, and he didn't answer.
That's awesome. George, you're such a passionate guy. I love it. What do you want to promote today? What do you got going on? I know you got your book.
Oh, but I got a little thing. Of course, my book, I'm so proud. It's been out probably 9 or 10 years. Dad, you don't work, you wrestle. That's my life story. My good friend Mark James up in Tennessee, he did Bill Dundee's and Dutch Mantel's book, and such a great guy. And Dave, when you give somebody your whole life story, there's a lot of trust. And the one thing that I'm so proud of is I didn't want Mark James to change any of the words. I wanted it to be like me and you're talking, Dave.
Right.
And that's been such a great compliment over the years. People that have bought it, they come back and they tell me that, man, when I read it, I felt like we were just sitting around talking. So that, of course, I can go to my website, georgesouth.com. And, man, I'm so proud of that book. This coming Saturday, me and Ricky Steamboat are going to be at one of these toy and comic book conventions. And, man, I love them. It's just close to home here. And, man, I just love going to meet and just still meeting fans. And so I'll have my book there. Of course, I got my own bottled water.
Yes.
That's a quick story. When I come up with this idea, I got twin daughters that are like 22 years old. And they don't care that I'm a pro wrestler. So they'll call me an idiot in a minute. Let me tell you, Dave. So I come up with this idea. I said, I'm going to get my own water that people can drink. And I say that, Dave, because people actually ask me, can they drink it when they buy it? I said, well, yeah, you can, But anyway, so I come up with this idea. Well, a guy on the internet, Dave, I don't even know these people. He comes and says, this is the stupidest idea that George South has ever come up with. And Dave, he should have never said that. Because that put me on a mission.
Right.
And I tell you, you know what I did? I kept his name. And Dave, when I sold my 1,000th bottle of water, I dedicated it to that idiot.
That's awesome.
I got right over here. And I said, this is dedicated to this one guy. And you know what? My daughters hate that guy because they even wrote in and said, listen, if you would have just shut up, my dad would have just forgot about this and went on to something else. But he just had to say, it was a stupid idea.
Sometimes
anyway,
spite can be a hell of a motivator, huh?
I'm telling you, that guy, I would have never done it. Honestly, I would have come up with some other goofy idea. But, man, when he said it was stupid, I said, I'll show you. And you know what's funny? Listen to this, Dave. I started it. Now, Rock and Roll Express have their own water. Ricky and Robert, Animal, bless his soul, he had his own water.
Wow.
Teddy Long has his own water now. So, it's funny. When we're at these conventions together, Dave, you come in, you walk down one aisle, and it looks like a concession stand.
Right, I bet.
I mean, you got all these tough wrestlers selling their water.
Sure.
But Dave, I got my first bottle real quick. You'll love this. Me and Ricky Steamboat was going to be at a comic convention. And I love Ricky Steamboat. He's just, man, he's perfect to me. But anyway, I wanted to show him my water. So I sit behind my back, and I go up to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And I said, Ricky, I got to show you something. I said, now, if you break my heart, and if you tell me this is stupid, I'll never sell another one. And I mean, I'm being stupid. So anyway, I it to him, and Dave, he marked out like crazy.
That's awesome.
And you know what he told me? He said, George, wait a minute now. He said, I'm not marking out because of your own water. He said, I'm marking out because you're actually selling it here beside the concession stand of the Civic Center that's selling their own water.
Right. That's right.
And I never got caught, you know?
That's
So
awesome.
anyway, yeah, my water, my book, I just came out, went down and done the NWA. I don't know if you got a chance to see it a couple months ago, but
Yeah.
well before COVID, I went down and did the NWA tapings.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
man, you talking about going back in time.
Mhm.
That was as close to a center stage taping. But you know the one thing I didn't like, Dave?
Yeah.
I did not know during the match, this is why I hate wrestling fans nowadays. While me and Colby Corino was wrestling, fans could sit home on their computers and comment on the match.
Right,
Dave.
right.
Now listen, when one of my students showed me that, I mean, I was like, I was like I got a smartphone and didn't know how to use it. My issue is you can't let people comment and not let me rebuttal. You know what, Dave? So yeah, you can talk about my match, but you got to put me on a laptop and let me talk about you talking about my match.
Right. That's
But
awesome.
here's how goofy I am. The guy that owns NWA, the Smashing Pumpkins guy.
Oh, yeah. Billy Corgan.
Yeah, Billy Corgan.
Yep.
He is, you don't believe this, Dave. He's such. I never met the guy. I never listened to Smashing Pumpkins. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So I'm there at TV, and this guy comes up to me, and he starts talking about my matches with Ric Flair. And honestly, Dave, I'm not lying. I didn't know who it was. I mean, I thought it was like just this fan or a production guy that loves me. So we're just sitting here putting Rick over and the Midnight Rock and Roll feud, and Ricky Morton comes over and pulls me to the side. He said, "You don't know who that is, do you?" I said, "Man, I don't know. I just know he loves me and Ric Flair." And Ricky said, "That's like the guy." I said, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" And I turned around at Billy Corgan. He had a big old smile on his face, you know. But I didn't even know. And man, I hope they get back in production.
Yeah, me too. Good product.
Because I loved it.
Yeah.
You know what I loved about that day? Everybody's asked me since then, what did you like about the NWA that you did, that WWE and WCW and others could probably learn from? You know, the minute I arrived in NWA, Dave, nobody told me what to say on my interview. Nobody told me what to do in my match. And to me, forget money. I know we got to make money. But to me, that's still the greatest compliment in the world, that they trusted me enough. So when I went out there, so you got to feel it, Dave. When I do an interview, you know what I'm saying? I got to feel what I'm doing. And so anyway, all of that was just done as it came to me. And I'd go back in a heartbeat. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, there's something very authentic, very real about NWA. Right. It comes off very, it's just not generic or anything. I don't know. It's like you can tell everybody has these promos that are not too far. Like Tim Storm. He comes off like that's who he is. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And see, that's why I don't care what the fans say now. You know what Ole Anderson used to call it, Dave? He had such a good illustration. He said that in our day, and I know people get tired of me saying in our day, but in our day, we took a blank canvas, Dave, and we painted. Seriously, that's what we did. Every wrestler painted a different picture. Nowadays, Ole used to say it's a canvas with paint by numbers. The canvas has numbers on it telling you where to paint. And I don't know. I'm so thankful I broke in when I did and got the track. See, we didn't even fly anywhere, Dave. You know, I think I've shared this with you. I learned so much in the back seat of Wahoo McDaniel's car with my mouth shut. Because Hillman, Ronnie Garvin, or Hillman, so, you know, Ivan, they would talk over finish. I mean, that's where you learned angles and stuff. But you didn't open your mouth. You know, you just listened. And, oh, gosh, what I miss. You know, with that. But and I know I'm talking to you dead, Dave, but
that's all right.
But I'm going to circle this back around to Dusty. And one of my, and at the time I didn't realize what I was doing, but now that I look back, for some reason, when I started working for Dusty and he was booking me every week, every Monday morning, Dave, at 8 a.m., I would call his office and just say thank you. I mean, I'm telling you, whether it was one booking or 7 bookings, the Great American Bash, whatever, I would call him Monday morning. Every Monday morning, I would say, thank you, Dusty, for what you did for me this weekend or last week. And I think he got tired of it. He got tired of me, because after a while, the secretary would answer. And Dave, she would say, George, Dusty knows that you appreciate him. She wouldn't even put my calls through.
That's funny.
So, but now that Dusty's gone, I'm so thankful that I took, you know, Dave, how much it means to me that I took a few moments just to tell Dusty thank you.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
And that now that they're gone, but I tell you, this sums up Dusty in my life. My oldest son, his first time, he took a booking in Philadelphia, George Jr. They flew him up there. He thought he was Ric Flair. Well, him and Dusty's on the same plane. For some reason, he knew Dusty. Dusty knew my son. Well, the plane lands. Now, Dusty's the one that tells me this after it happened. The plane lands, and my son has never had to go get in a motel or a taxi. He's never had to do any of that. This is his first time on the road. He sees Dusty in the airport, and my son, he was like 20 at the time. He walked up to Dusty and said, Mr. Rhodes, where are you staying at tonight? And Dusty said, hey, kid, you ain't sleeping with me. But my son knew that Dusty had always took care of his dad, and he just natural instinct was Dusty's going to take care of me too.
Right.
And I always laughed. Dusty said, man, your kid thought he was going to sleep on my floor. So, man, everybody says, what would you go back and change? Dave, I wish I would have, and I know it sounds crazy, I wish I'd have slowed down. And I really tried to enjoy, every moment of what happened in my career. But, I'm still 41 years, Dave. Yeah. I've been able to be a pro wrestler, and I still love it. I still love it. It sounds corny, but, man, I still love the going sitting behind an old gimmick table with popcorn smell in the air. And, Lord, this will sum everything up when you talked about, Dave. They just did an interview with Kid Rock.
Yep.
On like 2020 or one of the news things. And they're going around his home. And the lady asked him, said, I bet when you're up on stage, you're real nervous, you're anxious, and you're worried, and you just want to get off stage. And he stopped her, and he said, oh, no, you got it backwards. He said, when I'm in the real world, that's when I have, nerves racking, and that's when pressure's on me. So what he meant by that was, man, when he's on stage, he's at home, Dave.
Yeah.
And that's how me and several wrestlers are. When we're in the ring, man, it's just, man, everything's good. Everything's good.
Sure.
And I think that's what I'll do till, I told everybody, when George dies, there ain't going to be no tributes. Hey, listen, I tell people, if you want to love George, love me now. hey, send me flowers now. Don't wait till I'm dead, okay?
George, I don't think we can end this on a better note. Well said. Thank you so much for your time. I'm glad we could promote you. You have all the best stories in the world. Your passion comes through, and I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Oh, Dave, thank you so much, buddy. It's my pleasure, my honor, and I did let you talk a little bit this time.
Yeah,
okay?
All right, George. I was ready.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for everything and letting me plug my stuff and just talking about, it really was a very, very special time. I told my class last night, Dave, as we close, is for years wrestling fans wanted to find out what was behind the curtain. And now that they found out, they realized that they were better off before they found out what was behind the curtain.
1,000%.
Ain't that something? Mm-hmm. I tell people, I got a buddy that loves magicians.
Yeah.
Magic. And he's been trying for 3 years to tell me how they do their tricks, and I keep hanging up on him.
Yeah, right.
I said, you goofball. I don't want to know how y'all pull a rabbit out of your hat.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Because once you find out what happens, it's almost like you have to find different reasons to love it still.
Yeah.
Right, because I remember, during the empty matches on Raw when it had no fans whatsoever, and there's no storyline to it. It's not like you're building up to an empty arena match like Funk and Lawler. It's just, empty. And I thought to myself, I could watch UFC, and I'd watch that, and I'd be more interested because I'm really invested in the outcome. Whereas now,
that's right.
now I'm invested in more of the show. Whereas a kid,
That's right.
and I didn't know better, well, I wanted to see Ricky Steamboat beat that no good Ric Flair. That was everything to me back then. But
Amen.
Yeah.
That, buddy, don't ever change that, Dave. I tell people, see, when I first started, I was trying to figure out this business. And I remember Ole Anderson told me, he said, go home and start watching old cowboy and Indian movies, old westerns. I said, what are you talking about? I want to be the greatest wrestler in the world. I don't want to go watch movies. He said, go home, watch an old western movie. And I'm going to tell you, if you do that now, that is the whole concept of our wrestling. You got the bad guy and you got the good guy, Dave, and the good guy always wins.
absolutely,
That's all wrestling is.
absolutely.
I'm telling you, you should. I tell these fans, stop trying to figure out and just eat your popcorn.
Right, just enjoy the show. And if you don't like it, watch something else. Watch something else if you don't like it. Either enjoy it, and
Exactly.
listen, there's a lot of shows out there now. There's more content than ever, which I don't think is the best thing because I think there's oversaturation. But when I do watch stuff, there's a lot of times I'm not going to enjoy everything as a fan. But that doesn't mean I hate the whole show. I find things that I enjoy. And
Me too.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
sure.
it's like Ric Flair, Dave, and then I'll let you go. It's like I tell people all the time, everybody's saying Rick's old and he needs to retire, and I get so mad because, see, Rick is my last connection to the way wrestling used to be. He really is. And he still can come out and do a promo better than 95% of the people in wrestling. And Dave, I tell people, that's because it's in his heart. You can't, I can teach you a few wrestling moves, but if it ain't in your heart, seriously, see, what Rick has, you can't teach. And he just loves pro wrestling. But I tell fans, if you got to go to college and get a diploma before you can understand wrestling, somebody's got it wrong.
Damn right.
Seriously, I just want to sit there, buy some overpriced gimmicks
Yes.
and watch the good guy beat the bad guy.
That's
That's
right.
all I want.
Keep
And
it
then go
simple.
home.
Like Bobby Heenan used to say, keep it simple for the humanoid.
Amen. Amen. Well, Dave, thank you, buddy. Man, I'll talk to you for another 2 hours if you don't let me go.
It's all right, George. We'll get you back on. Have a great
Yes,
day,
sir.
man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a wonderful day. Thank you, my friend.
Bye, George.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that wraps us up for this week. Thank you again for listening to the Working Fans Podcast. So as always, you can find us on Twitter at FansWorking. Our Facebook page is Working Fans Wrestling Pod. We have email where you can reach out to us and let us know what you think also. That's workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, workingfanswrestling_pod. And then as always, please continue to listen to us on Anchor.fm, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, all your major platforms. If you're following us on Apple Podcasts, which we are also on now, and YouTube, please make sure you subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. It helps us bring you these podcasts where we get to talk to you and talk with you every week.